Netflix has a brand new fantasy film with a dragon in it on their streaming service this week, and it's titled Damsel. It stars their crown jewel, Millie Bobby Brown, who shows up in a lot of things on Netflix, but primarily we all know and love her from Stranger Things. And yeah, it's okay. I expected a lot more from this movie, and maybe my expectations got the best of me. But I'm here to give you guys my reasons why I found Damsel to just be an okay movie. But I'm definitely excited to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. So make sure to leave your thoughts down there. Hit that like, subscribe button for more. And let's jump into this, because if you don't know what Damsel's about, it's about a dutiful damsel who agrees to marry a handsome prince, only to find that the royal family has actually recruited her as a sacrifice to repay an ancient debt to a dragon. It stars Millie Bobby Brown, Ray Winstone, Angela Bassett, Brooke Carter, Nick Robinson, Robin Wright. A lot of exciting things in here. And overall, this concept of someone who should be a damsel ends up not being a damsel, that's kind of the idea that I had here. And part of me going into this film expected a more action-heavy fantasy film with Millie Bobby Brown kicking ass. And that's not what this film is. Now, again, my expectations may have just been wrong through this movie, whether it was the marketing, whether it was what I was told about the film prior to watching it. Whatever that is not what this film is. This is a survival fantasy film, which in theory is actually a really clever idea to set an entire survival film in the medieval era. Think of like 127 Hours, the film with James Franco, but with a dragon. Like, it's Millie Bobby Brown trying to survive this cavern against a dragon. And that's a cool idea in theory, but survival films and really much having your character be in one place for a majority of a runtime isn't always my cup of tea. And I'm very picky with those movies. And I have to say with this film, it was kind of the same. I always leave most survival movies with one feeling. A feeling that something was missing. Can go as far to say that Damsel had that same feeling for me. And it could be a feeling of not feeling emotionally invested in your character. It could be a feeling of feeling like you've seen it all before, even though it's a different twist on the genre. And also feeling that there was a better idea here that I would have rather seen during the medieval time. And honestly, that would be more of something like Revenge, which if you've never seen that movie, very underrated film, I highly recommend it. But personally, for me, I would have rather seen a film with Millie Bobby Brown in it, in that same kind of scenario, more of a revenge thriller and trying to survive and get that, again, revenge. That's not what we got here. And part of me, again, maybe that's my expectations, maybe it's not, but that's something that I think would have just been infinitely more interesting to say the least. But this is the film we have. And while I did find some things missing, I still found some things to be pretty decent. And one of the best and brightest spots of this film is Millie Bobby Brown, who continues to showcase why she is one of the best young and up-and-coming talents here. She's an easy character to root for. She's always playing a character actor who's easily able to be rooted for. Nothing will ever surpass 11, at least as for right now, but I've loved her in Enola Holmes. I think she's great in those. I think she's fantastic in here as well. I think she is really much the reason to watch this movie. Like, if you're a diehard fan of hers, you should still check it out. She does do some things in here where I was like, yes! Easy character to root for. Rest of the cast I found to be honestly a little bit of a waste. Ray Winstone's decent for what screen time he has. Angela Bassett's like barely in the movie. Brooke Carter is good. Nick Robinson's good. Robin Wright's good. But again, they all have like barely any screen time. This is Millie Bobby Brown's film from top to bottom. And as well as the dragon, which talks. Well, I'll just leave it at that, not to get into spoilers, but I like the voice of the dragon. I like what they did with the dragon. And I thought overall the visual effects on the dragon looked pretty badass. I can't deny that. They hid the dragon for like quite a bit, and I don't know if that was intentional or like, you know, they didn't have the biggest budget, but either way, I liked what they did. I loved how the dragon's like fire breathing ability worked in here. It was more of like just upchucking lava, and I thought that was, again, badass. Wish we would have seen it in a grander scenario. I liked the cinematography too. The rest of the film I was pretty bored by. And again, it's 127 hours meets dragons in a fantasy world, and that is really what is here. When it comes down to my issues, it kind of just lacks emotion. It lacks any sort of depth to the character and wanting to cheer for her, besides of something that you've seen that's been so service level all before. And some people might be like, well, Zach, it's just something to be like entertained by, and that's for sure. But at an hour and 45-minute runtime, which thank God, most Netflix original films get to like that 2-hour runtime, and I'm like, why? This is a film that probably could have shaved off 10-15 minutes. And it probably would have been a more entertaining thriller in that essence, because it's not so long. It takes about 35 minutes to set up the premise, which that's okay. But in the theory of a survival story, I feel like this should have been set up a little bit faster, since there really is no emotional depth. They tried. It's not really there. I think there could have been some certain elements within the script that I would have placed around and fixed here or there to maybe enamor more of that emotion. I maybe would have placed certain flashbacks in those moments, but they're not. Everything is really played to such a surface level degree, and you're either going to enjoy the film for what it is and walk away being like, wow, I'm going to remember that, or you're going to watch it and be like, I already forgot most of it. And that's kind of where I really am at, is that I can appreciate the visual effects, I can appreciate the main performance, but I can look at the rest of the movie and just be like, it's fine. Like, that's really all I can say, is it's fine, it's okay. I'll never think about the film again, and I will never watch this movie again. It's disappointing to say that, because I found all the marketing, the posters, the photos, everything to look just absolutely badass. And for me to watch this and go, yeah, it's cool. It's not what I expected. But once I kind of understood what I was watching 35 minutes into the movie, I'm like, okay, I've seen it before in a different scenario, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll be okay. I think this is like just, again, the definition of an it's fine movie. So with all that said, I'm going to give Damsel a C-. I really didn't have a lot to say about this one. It's kind of just one of those movies you watch and you're like, okay, I watched it. Let's move on to the next thing. And that's really all about it. So make sure to leave your thoughts down below. Hit that like, subscribe, and thanks so much again for watching this. And of course, until next time, stay classy.